Hey guys, welcome back to the Gloria Living channel. My name is Hannah and today we are back in the kitchen and I am going to show you how to make the best Southern biscuits you have ever had. Okay, so literally every recipe online tells you it's the best and the last recipe you're ever going to need. But truly, this is the best. So my mom, growing up north, we didn't really eat biscuits. My mom was Italian. She didn't make biscuits for breakfast. That was not a thing for us. When we moved to the South, man, she was set on trying to find the best biscuit recipe ever. She tried them, and oh man, it's the only thing she ever struggled to make. Like, honestly, it's the only thing that I've ever seen her not be able to make successfully. She finally nails down the recipe, right? And she feeds it to us, and we go, oh, this is it. She goes, great, they were frozen. So she had given up on this saga of trying to find the best biscuit recipe, and I took it up myself and tried finding one, and honestly, guys, I stumbled over this one and it has truly been perfect. This is a foolproof recipe, and guys, it really is. It's so delicious. It comes out great so consistently. It's so good, and you are gonna love it. Super easy to even remember, easy to make, and always perfectly delicious. Okay guys, let's not waste any time. Let's get started. We're gonna preheat our oven to 425 degrees. I'm gonna show you what we have for ingredients as our oven preheats. Okay, so we are going to have 2 cups of flour, an all-purpose flour. We are also going to have 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 stick of butter, which is 1/2 a cup of butter, and 3/4 a cup of buttermilk. But guys, I never have buttermilk on hand, to be honest with you. So a way to substitute that, if you just do 3/4 a cup of milk, add a teaspoon of either a lemon juice or a white vinegar, give it a few minutes to sit, and it is a great substitute for buttermilk. I've almost never made this recipe with buttermilk, and it always comes out super good. If you have it on hand, use the buttermilk. If not, do not feel like you have to get buttermilk. Just do regular milk and add some lemon juice or white vinegar. Easy substitute, something most of us have in the kitchen at all times. Important point about the butter, you're gonna wanna make sure it is cold. Don't take this out of the fridge and let it sit on the counter at all. You're gonna want to make sure it's cold for mixing in. How we make these biscuits and the way we go about it is going to make them so flaky and perfect, and cold butter is a huge part of that. So before we do our butter though, let's mix in our dry ingredients. I am going to take our 2 cups of flour and put them in our batter bowl here. Our 1 tablespoon of sugar, our 1 tablespoon of baking powder. Do not do baking soda. It will be the saddest surprise you've ever had. So baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, and we're gonna mix that all in together. Okay, so once we have incorporated our dry ingredients in together, we're going to add our butter. I do not have a pastry cutter, so anything to just be going in there and cut up the butter into the dough here. So what I do is I cut this into tablespoons first, and then I also just cut it into smaller cubes so that when I am smushing this into the dough, I don't have to work it too much and warm it up too much. We want to keep this butter as cold as possible, and that's really important. Do not let the butter get too warm and soft. It will affect how they come out. So I'm gonna cut this into some smaller chunks here. So you can kind of see how I did that there. I'm going to dump that into the flour. Okay, this is almost a pastry no-no, but I do mix it in with my hands very quickly and just a little bit to get it in there. You don't want to touch it too much with your hands because you're warm and this butter is going to melt. It doesn't matter how cold you think your hands are. So I don't have a pastry cutter. I just use one of these giant serving forks and I go to town in there. You want your butter cut into the flour until it is in about pea size in your mixture. If you do use your hands at all, you do it really fast. And that's why I like to cut it into small pieces in case my fork is not getting the job done as quickly as I want. That way I don't have to handle it very much. Okay, so once I have all the butter and flour kind of combined here, I'm going to add our milk or buttermilk into our mixture. This is where things can get a little bit messy, and it can be helpful to have a spatula. I also like to keep some extra flour on the side, and that's gonna be for our surface when we roll our biscuits out to cut them into circles. But it really helps with your hands as well. Okay, when you're done mixing your dough together, you should have, like, it should be able to be held in your hands like a ball. Okay, it shouldn't be so sticky that you can't handle it, and it shouldn't be so flaky that it's not going to be in a ball. If you have it too sticky, you're just going to have to add a little bit more flour, and if it's too dry, maybe a tad bit more milk. But if you follow that recipe to a T, you should be just fine. And so we're going to put a little bit of flour on our surface here. We're going to get our dough ready. Okay, we've got our dough down here, and what we're going to do is you can flour a rolling pin if you have a rolling pin, and you're going to roll out this dough into somewhat of a rectangle, as much as you can. Make a circle into a rectangle here, and you're going to make it about 6 inches by 9 inches about. For life reference, a dollar bill is 6 inches long. That helps you. What you're going to do is cut this now into 3 pieces going across the 6-inch width, and you're going to layer them on top of each other. What this is going to do is this is going to cause our biscuits to flake and be very high when they rise and delicious. And that's what the butter does as well. That's why you want the butter to be cold. That melting butter actually causes a flake in your biscuits, and it's awesome. So once you've layered them, you'll have it'll be like the 3 layers here, okay, of the pieces you just cut. You're going to re-roll them out. Okay, so just roll that out again into about a 6 by 9. Sometimes I do a little bit bigger. About a 1/2 inch thick. It just depends on how you like them. If you like them very thick, you can make them a little bit thicker than that, but that's about how thick I'm going to do for right now. Okay, so here's how you're going to cut your biscuits. I have this there are actual biscuit cutters. This is a part that I have from a sandwich cutter, okay? I have multiple sizes of these, but I have in the past just used mason jars. If you use a mason jar, that will work too. It can be a little bit harder to get out. I'll show you. You have to kind of almost poke it out a little bit. But you can get that to work. I like this much better. Now that I have this, I just use this because you can poke it from the top, and there you go. You have your biscuit. This is about a 1/2 inch thick. I'm going to have to re-roll some of this and do it again. I do like it a little bit thicker. That's a little bit better. That might be more close to 3/4 of an inch. It's just your preference how thick you want your biscuits, and it depends on what you're doing with them. If you're making sandwiches, you might want them a little bit thicker so it's easier to cut them in half, and so you have a real more sturdy edge. It's all in preference, but I wouldn't go any thinner than a 1/2 inch. So that right there gave me 7 biscuits so far. When you have all this excess that you've cut out, you roll it back into a ball. Remember, you want to do this pretty quick, and you don't want to handle this too much because you don't want your butter to start to melt too much here. It'll take away its effect. Cut it back into those 3 sections, into thirds again. Layer them again, and roll them out again. And obviously, when you roll it out with your extras, you're not going to be able to get a 6 by 9 circle, or rectangle. Do it one more time. Usually by the end, I just have one funky biscuit. That's a little bit wild. That's a good tester. And a good excuse for you to try the first one out of the oven. All right, and what I'll do, I guess I'll flatten that and try and get 2 more out. What I'll sometimes do is just, like I said, I get some funky shaped ones towards the end. You can even stick it on in there the backwards way. That gets you a little bit of a circle. Okay, that ended up giving us 11 biscuits, and I will show you those right here. I like to put them on a pan that has a lip on it, and the reason I do that is because sometimes I do handle them too much and the butter starts to melt. And if I put them on my air bake sheets, which I love, but if I put them on those, they don't have any lips, and my oven is also crooked and butter will slip off and go into the bottom of my oven. So I like to put them on a lipped baking sheet like this. Okay, so our biscuits are in the oven. We will put those in for about 10 to 12 minutes, and we'll check on them and look for golden brown on top. Sometimes they take a little bit longer than that. It just depends on The original recipe called to cook them at 450. I just feel more comfortable cooking them at 425, so that's what I do. So sometimes they might need an extra minute. You don't want to dry them out. So if you see that little bit of golden brown starting to form on top, that's a good sign that they're ready to come out. So we're going to let these bake for 10 to 12 minutes, check on them, pull them out. I'm going to show you how absolutely flaky and delicious these biscuits are. Well guys, our biscuits are out of the oven and they look amazing. You can see my few awkward ones that were the last ones. They always look a little silly, but guys, look at that. Do you see how thick that biscuit is? Let me show you the layers. Look at the layers on that biscuit. It's so flaky, so big, so thick. It's awesome. It's a perfect biscuit. And they're just like that. They come out like that every time. What we love to eat these. We love to eat these with butter, jam, anything like that alongside of breakfast, but we also love to cut them in half and put a sausage inside and make little sausage biscuits. I'm going to show you what this looks like on the inside. Okay, so I just want to show you off of this plate here. These biscuits, I mean, I want to show you how flaky these are, that it's just going to literally, I mean, look at the steam's coming out. That's amazing. It is so flaky and soft and good. Man, it's just like the layers, they just flake off. So soft, so fluffy, so tasty. Butter is my favorite. Put a sausage in here, it's gonna change your life. We are going to try also making big batches of these, putting sausages in, and putting them in the freezer. Take them out, warm them up for a quick and easy, handmade, homemade breakfast sausage sandwich. So, guys, these are so delicious. You're gonna love them. I'm gonna put the recipe down in the description for you guys. You can check it out there. I'm also gonna put the link to the original recipe where I found them in the description below. The only difference between her and I is I do a lower temperature. That's it. She made such a good recipe and she deserves all the credit for it. So go check her out too in her blog. And yeah, and in the meantime, guys, go make some biscuits and enjoy them with your dinner and any other type of meal you're making, your southern meal. These go great with a southern dinner or any type of breakfast. They're just so awesome. So I hope you guys enjoy them. I know our family absolutely does. So guys, give these biscuits a try. You're gonna absolutely love them. Your family's gonna love them. If you give them a try, comment in the video and let us know how they came out and if you enjoyed them. Our family absolutely loves them, and I know you guys will too. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and it was helpful to you, please like the video, please share the video with your friends and family, and as always, please subscribe to the channel. It is truly the best way to support us in making content like this for you. Until next time, guys, I'll see you soon.